What's up, guys? It's Mr. 5K Nate Bradley, and you're watching the Saturday Night's Main Event podcast.
Welcome, guys, to a very special episode of Saturday Night's Main Event. I am your host, Dan the Man, along with my very best friend, Slim Tim. And tonight we have a very special guest, Hurricane Pro superstar and Texas All-Star Wrestling superstar, Tama Ku. How are you tonight, buddy?
Man, I tell you, I'm so happy to be here on Saturday night main event with you guys because you guys got the biggest, the baddest, the meanest, and big dude nasty, the pretty birds machine, the super shredder, Tama Ku, baby. And I'm so glad to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me and having me on the show.
Absolutely. Like Tim said before we started, man, when we seen you at Conroe Rumble, we were just now starting this podcast, and Tim, the whole time, we got to get him on. We got to get him on. So it was you were in Tim's mind to be one of our first guests, and Nate Bradley was mine. Mm-hmm. But doesn't matter. We got you on now, man.
Man, thank you. That's a huge honor because let me tell you, that card over was at Southern Star Brewing, right?
Yeah.
Southern Star Brewing. Let me tell you, every time I work for, big shout out to the guys. Big Bob over at Texas All-Star Wrestling. I'm so honored when you guys have me out there. Thank you. Amazing talent from top to bottom. So for me to even stand out at all in that show, man, thank you. Nate Bradley, that's my little nephew, Nate. What's up, Nate? He's phenomenal. Jordan Jensen, Galactica. I mean, there's so many good, amazing talents in Texas. So for me to even stand out in anybody's mind at all, that's a huge compliment. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump into this, man. What was your introduction into pro wrestling?
Brother, I think my introduction was the same as everybody else, man. Just staying up late on Saturday nights with my brother watching WWF at the time and just watching all the big, strong characters. And I'm very much, by the way, I'm 42 years old, and I'm very much the guy that say your prayers and take your vitamins. I was a huge Hulk Hogan fan. I was a big Ultimate Warrior fan. I was a big Road Warriors fan. I was a big, that's why everything that when you see me perform, and I would say very much, I am a performer. I am well, when you ask Steven Stellar and the rest of the guys, man, I'm 10 stories tall and 100,000 megatons. But for a guy that's 6'3", 285 pounds, I very much bought into, say your prayers, take your vitamins. I very much I do the Ultimate Warrior Whoop Shake. I do a lot of powering up. I do a lot of stuff that's nostalgic from, I hope when you guys bring your kids and, you guys sit there with your grandkids or your friends or whatever, you're like, oh man, I remember that. I remember when a guy like that night I was wearing my Vader mask with the mohawk, with my own little spin. I hope that brings back that nostalgia of what made you a fan, and that's what I try to do.
So I see that you actually have a new mask on. Is this the new look for Tama Ku?
This is actually my fancy mask. I wore it for you guys tonight.
Oh, okay.
This is what I wear for big events. So I was getting ready for Saturday night main event, brother, just for you guys. So I've got a red version of this and a black version, and this is what I call the ultimate, the final tier version of Tama Ku, the demon incarnate. So actually, we called it the Night Devil. Yeah, because inadvertently, everybody says this looks like this Snarf from Thundercats, and I didn't mean that. But this is what I'll wear for special events. So I broke this out for you guys.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot.
No, go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say really quick before we move to the next question. You were saying you're about a year or two older than me. Me and you grew up in the golden era of wrestling, right? So I got something that you might pop for.
Hey, the Eagle Championship.
So this is one half of it, okay? So I was too a Hulkamaniac. I have my original Hulk Hogan bandana from March 12th of 1989. I was 3 years old. My grandmother took me to go see Hulk Hogan. I've had this ever since.
That's amazing. That's what it's all about, right? I'm just hoping that someone holds on to a Tama Ku shirt and sticker, right? Until they're older, be like, I remember that guy.
The next show that I go to, I've missed a couple of them because of stuff coming up and not working with my schedule right. But next time I'm at a show and you're there, wherever your merch is at, I'm getting a shirt.
Absolutely, man. You'll have a bunch of designs to choose from.
Woohoo!
I make sure, and I try to, I remember I'm a fan, and we all grew up sort of as fans, and I want to be able to cater to our audience. So, in merch for me, it's not so much about making money. It's about having something at every price point so that everybody that's a fan of what I'm doing could walk away with something. So I've always been very prideful in the way that I approach my merch, and there's some wrestlers that be like, Tama, brother, man, you need to start charging for those pictures. I'm like, man, absolutely not, man. I'll take a selfie with anybody. And again, I just want that little moment that I might not impact the rest of their life, but it's gonna be really cool for that moment and that night.
I mean, and going back to, that moment, it's basically like, for me, when I get a shirt from you, let's say a couple of years from now, um, a big promotion comes up to you and says, hey, we want you on the show. Would you be willing to do it? You do it. Guess what? I'm going to be wearing that shirt and go, I saw him at Hurricane or at Texas All-Star before he went here. I remember those moments. And so it's, to me, especially for kids, it's that memory that you have when you go to these independent shows. And that's one thing I love about these independent shows is that, yeah, y'all's goal is one day to be in a big organization for wrestling like WWE or TNA or Daniel, help me out here. My brain went fart.
AEW.
AEW. There you go.
My brain went fart. That's the line. You just stole the entire interview with that line. Right?
Yeah, my brain went fart.
My brain went fart, brother. You're on the
It's been a long day. Okay, leave me alone. But anyways, yeah, it's that. It's just that. To me, talking about the kids with the show, that's what makes it. Because once you get that shirt, like, yeah, I have a shirt from Cody Rhodes. I'm a big Cody Rhodes fan. But guess what? I got out of wrestling right after the Attitude Era. I was there with John Cena came in, but after John Cena and Stone Cold left, I was kind of like, I'm done. Well, I just recently got back into it. But those memories, now I can sit there and go, I have a Cody Rhodes shirt. I watched his journey for him to get the title that his dad never got. Same thing for you. I get that shirt, you go on to a bigger promotion, I'll be like, man, I watched him when he was in independent wrestling. Now look where he's at. And I have an autograph. And, a picture with him. And so when people say, nah, you've never met Tama Ku, guess what? Yes, I have. And that's the same thing with kids. When they grow up and they have their kids, they'll be like, man, I watched this guy wrestle when I was 5 years old. So it that memory. But getting a little off topic.
It was like we were telling Jordan Jensen in our interview. When you went up to those kids and you ate those Taki chips, just imagine how many days or weeks those kids rode on that, going to school and telling all their friends. And, that's pretty cool.
I hope so,
Yeah, especially when...
Side note, let me tell you something about Jordan Jensen, okay?
Uh-oh.
That's Jordan Jensen, if you're listening, and I know you are, brother, he's my personal Hulk Hogan. He's actually the guy that brought me up in wrestling. He was typically... So I break all this kayfabe stuff always, man. I'll always tell the behind the scenes stuff. He's the guy that mentored me coming up. He was my first title run, was with the guy who was my first feud. I always tell him that he's my, there's a story with Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan, which very much relates to me and Jordan. And Nash said that when he locked up with Hogan, man, he's in there with Hogan, man. He's the big brother, right? And he locks up with him. He said he's always been a cement mixer. And he's like, hey, Ryan said to him, and Hulk Hogan's like, hey, easy, brother. We really got their money, right? Yeah. And that always stuck with me because Jordan's always like, hey, easy, man. We got him right where we want him. And he talks to me so much. And I would like to say, if anything, publicly, that the reason why I'm as entertaining in the way that I read the crowd the way I do is because of that good brother, George Jensen. I love you, man. That's Jordan.
So and Jordan would know this if I say this, because I have nothing but love for that guy. Out of the 4 or 5 interactions I have so much respect. But he plays such a good, and I'm going to be straight up. He plays such a good asshole character.
Oh, he's great.
So good. But man, he comes around the ringside and he's going to everybody, but he always finds me and he hits me with that too sweet. I love that dude. I wish that dude nothing but success. And I always stick around after the shows because I know that he'll look for me, I'll look for him. Dude is super cool. Nothing but the best for that dude.
It's funny because I learned from him about the moments in between the moments, because he can be a loser, and then when he's doing it, he turns around and hits you that too sweet, right?
Yep.
And if you're not paying attention, you won't even catch it, right? I learned so much from him. He actually, pridefully, and when he and I were Hurricane Pro Tag Team champions, and eventually we built up to this big, we lost the titles and we started feuding. He turned on me, right? So this was a big heel turn. And when he turned on me, it was so unexpected that, and I'm really, really proud of this. Sadly, he runs up and I'm just, he pushes me, and I really get into the moment too. I'll cry when I'm up there, especially I'm this big dumb animal, So if I show emotion, it really resonates to the crowd. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what's going on? And I want to go give him a hug, and he's like, man, get away from me. And I'm like, come on, man, we're brothers. And I'm probably, I'm painting a good picture right now. And he runs up and he stuns me, right? And I'm down, and the whole crowd's like, oh my God, right? And his mother, that knows the whole shtick, is crying, right?
Wow.
And then, one thing that I do is I sit up, I do the whole Undertaker sit up, and I'm mad, and he's talking to the crowd, and I get up and I'm mad. And I look at him, I go to charge him, and he runs me, and he cuts me off and stuns me again. And my wife is like, oh my God, is he really hurt? Oh man. His mom, my wife, we had him right here. The best storytelling I've done in my entire career. Yeah. Like, we did it together. It was, really pridefully, we got to create that. It was such a great moment. I'll work with that guy any and every day of the week. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Daniel said, the Jordan, I'll be honest, at the beginning, when I first went to y'all show in Conroe at the Rumble, I'll admit, I did not like Jordan.
He didn't.
Oh, I despise Jordan. Just because, like you said, the way he plays his role as a heel, he plays it so well. It's like going back to Ian X. Ian X, I did not like him either. But,
phenomenal. Yeah.
But that just, and it's like Daniel said to me, he's like, bro, if you're a wrestling fan, you got to like everybody because everyone has a story to tell. And his story right now is a heel character. So you got to, you got to play into that. And so the more I got into it and I went to the VFW, which one was that one, Daniel?
Break It Off.
Break It Off.
The Cypher VFW.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That crowd is always ruckus, man. That atmosphere is amazing. That was my first show with All Star was in Cypress VFW.
Yeah. So when I went there, that's where I really started to feel the difference, like as a wrestling fan, because I'm so used to watching it on TV or going to one of those main events when they come into town. That was my second show, but just to feel the crowd, to feel y'all as entertainers, was just phenomenal. And that one with the emotion with Cam Rockwell when he won the belt, the story between Nate Slater and Nate Bradley, and then of course Jordan Jensen, just everything there is just phenomenal, and y'all do such a wonderful job doing that.
Man, I wasn't actually on that show, but I'll say as a whole, thank you, because the whole thing is like, you're a guy, we all grew up fans. Every one of us grew up fans. I remember I had a chance to go talk to a daycare, and all these kids were 4, 5, and 6 years old, and every one of these kids loved wrestling, male and female, right? So that goes back to proof of concept. Every one of us loves it. And eventually, like you said, in a lot of our age group, we fell off after the Attitude Era, and maybe we're starting to get back into it. And especially when you go into these WWE events, you know what the characters are, you know what to expect. But when you go to an independent show, you don't know what to expect. You might even feel that some of these guys, like, they're on the indies, they're no good. Maybe they got dad bods. I don't even get their character. And that's like one thing I really appreciate about Jordan, is that he's not a character. He's kind of an amplified version of himself, but he spoon feeds it to you as soon as he walks out from the curtain. Nate Slater, again, another good brother of mine. I love you very much, Nate. I'm going to say I love you a lot on the show because there's been a lot of guys I've been successful to this level because they've welcomed me into this business. I hear how this business can be toxic. They haven't been toxic to me, man. Everybody's been very, very much welcoming, and it helped me in my development. So thank you, Nate Slater. I love you, man. That's my ooze. But again, when you come in to these shows, you don't know what to expect, but they tell you. I mean, here's the thing. I teach you how to treat me. You just know I'm this big crazy thing. The details are I'm this big Polynesian war god, doomsday hero, right? You don't know that, but I'm going to teach you how to respond to me, and you do. And that's the beautiful thing about it. So when you went to that show, man, you saw, that's why I say there is so much phenomenal, so much phenomenal talent in Texas. Dude, I say pro wrestling Texas versus the world, man. We're the best in the world.
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course, I can't say too much about all the organizations all over, the United States or in the UK. But, I mean, just from what I've seen with Texas All-Star, it's so hard to get away from Texas All-Star because of the talent that y'all have. It's, I want to see other promotions out there. But at the same time, it's like I'm so drawn to Texas All-Star. And now knowing about Hurricane, I actually want to drive out to Beaumont and check y'all out. Because it's just knowing that you and Jordan Jensen came from there, I'm like, okay, let me go check that one out. I mean, because, those two talents, you and him, all right, I want to see what they're all about. So that gets me more to venture out and check out these organizations.
And you should. You absolutely should. I mean, there's so many, and I don't want to venture out of like the two promotions that we're talking about here, but believe me, there's so many promotions in Texas and really all around, Oklahoma and Louisiana, everywhere where you could even think of. Pardon me, obviously I'm living the high life tonight. So thank you guys for bearing with me. But like we're not specific to any one organization. We will work like a lot of all-star shows. Like right now, Jordan's doing a lot of all-star, and he's working other promotions too, but he's putting a lot of emphasis there. There is a lot of like just good, solid talent that's all over the place, right? You can't miss it. And again, you should, because of the level of talent in Texas, walk into any organization and be entertained from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. I mean, there's so much talent out there. Again, just for you guys to want me on the show is such a huge, I'll say it again. Thank you for having me on here, because believe me, I feel objectively that I am nothing compared to these guys. We have phenomenal talent in Texas.
Yeah.
Now, I got a question to ask you really quick. It's kind of like my wife just asked me because she kind of popped in here. She asked, are you going to be at the June 15th show for TASW?
I am not. I'm not scheduled. No, hold on.
My wife goes,
well, man, I've got to cancel what I'm doing. I believe June 15th is, we have a big taco margarita festival out here in Beaumont, and I think we're going to do that show, I believe.
Yeah, don't miss that. Don't miss that. You can't go wrrong with tacos and margaritas.
So I've got 2 shows in June, and I've been limiting my bookings here lately. But I know I have RWF in Santa Fe, which is a phenomenal organization there. And I know I have the Taco Margarita Festival. I need to check the dates, but I want to say like I'm going to be in Beaumont on that date. But thank you for asking. I'll try to be at another one.
We always look, every time they post something, we're looking to see what the roster is and see if you're going to be there. Because like me, Dan's a big fan of Nate and, Jordan. So he looks at there, okay, Jordan's going to be in it. I'm going.
Fanboy right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, that's awesome. Thank you. We hope that we have more people paying attention to what we're doing.
I don't ever see Tim get super excited and like geeky. Tim's my best friend. And it's so funny to see him geeking over somebody. It's great. I love it. I mean,
you have your I guess you can say idol, and you as an entertainer has really drawn me to your story.
Oh, shut up! Hold on. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna throw up, man. I'm nobody's idol. Jesus. Okay, well, thank you, man. I really that's I'm super honored that you would think of me any kind of highly. Here's the funny thing. So again, talking about all the wrestlers that we know, Richard Brawley, BD Brawley, gives me crap all the time. He's like, dude, are you really this humble? What is wrong with you? You're amazing. I'm like, I'm amazing. You're amazing. Have you seen your beard? And that's real life conversations that we have.
Wow.
But no, thank you. I can never get used to hear anybody say that. So thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Question that I have: what inspired the Tama Ku character?
So initially, if you'll see like what I'm doing over at what I've done recently at Hurricane and what I've done over at Riot Wrestling Federation, I've been wearing a black and silver mask.
Yeah.
And that was actually oddly my first mask that I was going to debut with. That was going to be another gimmick called Scott Claymore. And it was like a big bodyguard, kind of Bane type character. And I remember I looked in the mirror and thought to myself, well, we have a lot of these big men. And again, when you look at Texas wrestling, my goal was looking at, okay, what niche am I going to fill? Because I can't book a show at All Star and have all big men. So where do I fit in there? So there's amazing brothers in there like Parvis, right? Parvis is, if he's on the show, typically I'm not going to be on it unless we're facing each other. There's amazing big men like Brick Savage, who I'm a huge fan of, objectively. I love what he does, but you can't really have me and Brick on a show. So what am I going to do that's going to make myself marketable? And I looked at myself in the mirror and I gave myself an honest look. And I thought to myself, and this is what I told you guys too, would you pay money to see you and why? That's the most important thing, right? So I said, what do I have to offer? I'm big, I'm Samoan, I'm tattooed, but I don't want to do like the classic, haka, the typical Samoan gimmick. So I really looked into it and did some studying, and I wanted to have this big presence, almost Heyman Undertaker-esque. And I wasn't even big fans of them, really and truly. I respected what they did, but there was aura and a presence to what they did. So I looked up, there's Ares, the god of war that everybody's familiar with, but in the Polynesian culture, there's Ku, and that's the Hawaiian god of war. Right. But that sounded too basic and too plain. I'm like, okay, how am I going to put this together? By the way, underneath this mask, and of course, I don't really hide it from anybody the way that I look. I remember years ago, someone told me, hey, man, brother, are you watching Game of Thrones? I'm like, I'm not watching Game of Thrones. Well, what about it? Like, there's a dude on there that looks just like you. You should watch it. That's Jason Momoa. Anyway, his called I know his called Drago character, which by the way, Tommy Bolt, who I wrestled over at Conroe, he said, man, I get why you wear the mask. You're too damn good looking under that mask, so you need people to boo you, so I get it. True story. I love you, brother Tommy. So I had that waist belt idea, gimmick, that he wore called Dragos. That really stood out for me, what he did. So I wanted to have that presence. And again, I wanted to be an experience, not just a wrestler. Everybody does Canadian Destroyers. Everybody does Super Kicks. Everybody can wrestle, of course. What do I bring that's different? So I said, okay, there's Ku, the War God. How do I do this? And I thought, now he's in WWE. Everybody knows him. There was Tama Tonga. He used to paint his face up. I'm like, Tama Tonga, what does that mean? When you look at it, that's Japanese for son of. Tama means. So if I were to say Daniel Jr. in America, that'd be Tama Daniel. So I thought maybe I'm the son of the god of war, Tama Ku. So I debuted with this big, hulking, angry, something different character for the audience. And they were chanting my name from the moment I hit the curtain. It's been amazing.
Wow, that's cool.
I like
that's
that.
Cool.
That I mean, as a fan, you always think, man, I want to be a wrestler one day. I've thought about it. I really have, but
you should. And I'll tell you why you should. But go ahead, finish.
But I have seen some, your practices and your all that stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, that's not for me. I don't want.
Well, why is it for you? Let's get this out of the way. Why isn't it for you? I'm curious.
Doesn't have an answer for it.
I don't have an answer for that one yet, but I'm gonna say this much. It's because I don't want to wake up the next morning going, oh.
Oh, we do that a lot, man. Like my wife doesn't understand sometimes when I come home, and she's not a wrestling fan, but she's a big supporter of me. I love my wife so much. Tama Wifey, hi. I know you'll watch this later. That's my baby bear, by the way, because she's just right. However, I'll come home with a busted lip or a busted eye, or just the next morning, like, ah, right? She's like, because as a big guy, she knows I don't really get slammed a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not the story we're telling. I do get hit a lot, which sucks. Which sucks even worse because everybody's like, yeah, okay. And so I'm always rocking. I gave myself a concussion. Which show was that? It was with the Humble Rumble at All Star last year because I just kept getting smacked in the head so much. And that type of stuff happens. And that was not from being slammed on my head. That was just from jarring of rocking my head back and forth constantly.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough, man. Wrestling is tough. I will say I played football. I played semi-pro football. I was a kickboxing coach. I was a semi-professional kickboxer. I was a bouncer for years. If you guys didn't know, I'm a police officer now. And
are you really a police officer?
I actually am a police chief over a small school district now. So all I do is work with kids at this point.
Oh, wow.
And I believe it. I watched the gimmick interview with Jordan, and he's like, "Oh yeah, man, I love Tama. Love you too." And he said he loves kids. And yeah, man, this has been the center of my entire professional career, my entire life. We wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for those guys. They're our most precious asset. They're the future. And I'm hoping that maybe one day they'll want to be a wrestler or maybe even a cop. Who knows?
Yeah, my wife is not the biggest wrestling fan, but I feel like lately she's got that itch. I mean, of course, when you're married to me, and that's what I watch all the time. I'm actually, after we finish this interview, I'm going to watch my buddy Jaime, his promotion, Loco Wrestling here in Houston.
Yeah.
They're doing a show with Circle Six, and it's just like a deathmatch tournament. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. It's not mine, but I'll check it out.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
I can do it in doses. I can't do a full show of it. I just can't do it. But
I just can't see.
I'm going to go ahead and jump to the next question really quick, Tim.
All right.
Just one second. Let me pull up my phone up. How many years have you been an active performer in the ring?
I'm going on 6. Which was actually going back to the previous discussion we were having, and I was asking him like, "Hey, man, why not try it?" It's the idea that every one of us thinks like, "Hey, man, I would love to do that." And for me, I've never been the guy of I don't want to go on my deathbed going, "Man, I should have really tried that." So my entire life, I was like, I'm going to be a professional wrestler. Now, it's funny that you talk about the Loco promotion in the show tonight, because by the time I graduated high school, I said, "Man, I'm going to be a professional wrestler." And Al Snow had a school up in Minnesota. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to do that." But romantically, as an 18-year-old, well, how am I going to pay for that? I don't know, right? So, of course, that doesn't happen. But here's a little story about me, a little side fact. My neighbor growing up was Masada, the deathmatch king, Brigham Young. So we hated each other growing up, but we fought a bunch, and now we were such good friends. I think we fought each other to respect. And at the time, he was doing a little bit of work with ECW when I graduated high school, and he's like, "Brother, man, you've got the size, you've got the look, man. You want to get into wrestling? Let me get you in." But in my head, I didn't want to take a cheese grater to the head for $20. Right? That's not the kind of wrestling that I love, and that's no effect against Masada. I love what he does; he does it amazingly, but it's not for me. So I waited, and the entire time I said I want to work out, and I want to have the look of a wrestler, because if I could have people walk up to me in public and go, "Hey, man, are you a wrestler?" Then I know I've got the appropriate look, and I've actually achieved that over the years. So at 33 years old, my wife, I keep talking about it. My wife says, "Man, are you going to do this or what?" And again, she's not a fan, but she knows the way my brain is. So I sought out some training. I went to Ring of Honor for a tryout camp. They actually loved me over there. A big shout out to Rogue, great, phenomenal talent out there. Big Kev out there, I love you. Hey, man, book me on that show. And it was just a lot for me to drive an hour and a half there, train for a few hours, and drive back. I found that through talking to Jared Wayne here at Hurricane Pro Wrestling that we were actually doing training here. So I started training here. I trained there for a few years. And the funny thing is they actually started me with everything. I could do everything that everybody does. I could go to the top rope and I could do planches and everything like that. They cut off my training midway through, and they said, Justin Bulldog Walker reached out to Richard Cranium. And they saw that because some people were paying attention, I was starting to get into the business. And Justin Bulldog Walker said, of course, and he said that what are you doing with him? You need to scrap everything and train him as a big man. Okay, so they scrapped everything for what I was doing, and it was all learning how to be a big man. And I've been, like I said, in the business now for my debut about 6 years.
Wow.
Nice.
Just to know that you were living next door to a pro wrestler, that's that's a that's one of those things that
And fought him growing up a lot, and he's known and Brigham is Brigham Doan is his name, of course. Masada's just known to be, dude. We used to be in mosh pits for concerts because all our buddies were metalheads, and
Yeah.
Big Brig was clearing that mosh pit every time, man. He's a tough son of a bitch.
Yep, the ultra violent beast. Masada was one of my favorites.
I can't say that I ever won a fight between him, and I can't say he ever beat me up. But we respected each other.
Nice.
How does he feel now that you're a cop?
Oh, dude, we're great friends, man. I see him backstage, and I was going to do that UPW show with him that was coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Our schedules just didn't align. But no, we're still great friends even to today, man. And the funny thing is, he's known as Ultraviolent Beast, of course, but it's nothing but love every time I see that guy, man. Big hug, big kiss on the cheek.
Nice. Who's your favorite opponent from Hurricane and Texas All Star to fight to go against?
That's easy. So Galactica actually helps a lot with the booking over at All Star,
mm-hmm.
and he knows this for a fact because I told him I'll work for free just to go ahead and fight Jordan Jensen. I love the chemistry that we have. It is amazing, and that's not to knock any other opponent I've had. I've had amazing opponents, and and El Silencio, just worked a great program with him. I've mixed up with Ryan Davidson, amazing. Chuck Devine. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And I've had these wonderful matches, and I always say it's not because of me; it's because I've had really great dance partners. But Jordan Jensen, when I'm in there with him, and I don't know if it's because we've done it so often that it just feels natural. When I got into this business, and again, when you're standing in a ring in front of 2,000, sometimes 10,000 people, and everybody's paying attention to every breath you take, right? Oh man, it's nerve-wracking, right? Jordan Jensen is the first guy I've been in a ring with where he makes that feel fun. Again, big lockup. Hey, easy, brother. We already got their money, right? He'll call things in a ring. I will work him any day of the week. He's my absolute favorite. I have worked him at All Star. And we back raked each other to death in a cage, which was so stupid, right? And I think they're mad at us because we kept doing that. Just, no. When I screamed out like Emilio Estevez. And by the way, anytime I'm in the ring, because I know I'm so big and serious looking, I try to pop the boys in the back with what I do. So yeah, he rakes my back. I scream out Emilio Estevez, and I don't think they'll pair us up again. But hey, I'm open to it for sure. I'll take it seriously next time.
Now, let me find my questions here. Is there, in Tama Ku's mind, what wrestlers in TASW and Hurricane Pro do the viewers need to look out for? To scour YouTube videos, just keep an eye on. Who are your top two? One from TASW, one from Hurricane Pro.
Man, so obviously, and this is not to, and again, real life as a shoot, I love everybody, right? Well, I get along great with everybody. As a keeping a kayfabe brother, right? As to who I'm looking at, All Star Wrestling, ENX. Okay. Man, this is a kid that's, and I mean it because he looks at me like he's one of the vets, and it's funny when we talk and just little details. I think he's been in this for a year and a half, maybe two, right? So somewhere in that range. I don't cuss a lot, but let me tell you, he's fucking got it. ENX is phenomenal, right?
Yes.
Next level. And that's not a knock on anybody else in that promotion. They have tons of talent, and you asked me to name one, I named him, right? In Hurricane Pro Wrestling, man, we've got some good brother vets in there. It's again, you're asking me to pick between guys that I highly respect because they're so good, man. I can't really tell you how many people suck. If anything, I'm the guy that sucks the most out of all of them, and I get like a lot of attention. It's weird. I would tell you, what's his work name? I work with him so much. There's a tag team there called Blue Collar Crew. Okay, so I'm going to name them together. Okay, that's Chris Sindel and Billy Wayne Fletcher III.
Okay.
Brother, they do it so different, and they draw so much heat everywhere they go because they're not redneck, they're not country, they're white trash, and it's such a unique display of how they do it, and people just hate them. And again, so I always look at things not just from a wrestling standpoint. I mean, the movies are cool, but the performance aspect and how you could draw people in, obviously, like what I did with the kids in the talkies. Um, that's I think even importanter, right? And BCK, Blue Collar Crew, those guys are next level, and they deserve to be on TV for sure.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I have to agree with Ian X. Like I said earlier, I mean, just seeing him the 2 times that I have seen him, I mean, for you to call him out like that shows a lot because, like let's say I did get into wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Going from someone that's green, that's never done this kind of business, to where he's at now, because everyone that we've had on the show and we've asked him about ENX, everyone that said that he is the next top performer. He's the
absolutely.
next face for the organization. Like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
Nate has been the face, and he's good at it. But they say
Right.
that ENX is probably going to be the next face because of where he went to where he's at now.
I mean, again, some people just has it. Yeah, I've openly tried to have discussions when you're pitching character and development and storylines. I am consistently bringing up. I'm like, let me work with Ian. Let me be his bully. Bob, if you're listening at All Star, let me be Ian's bully. It'll be amazing, right? And eventually we'll feud and I'll put him over or whatever because he is really just that phenomenal talent. Yeah, I want to work with, and I'm not the only person that want to work with him. We're all lined up to want to work with that kid because we know that he's the future in Texas, brother, at least for sure.
So I know and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Like I said, me and Tim are new to TASW. We've only been active with that promotion for probably about 6 months. Like I said, loved it ever since. I don't know how often that promotion does gimmick-based matches, like cages, ladder matches. I know they do the Rumbles, phenomenal stuff, right? But me and Jordan Jensen and Nate Bradley, we talk all the time, social media, whatever.
Mhm.
So I told them that my dream feud is I want to see them in a best-of-7 series for the TSW World Heavyweight title. The series ties up 3-3, and we have the deciding fall in a ladder match for the world title. Nate
Are you
said,
talking about all three of them or just one-on-one?
No, so it's best-of-7. So 3 wins to 3 wins. That deciding fall is in a ladder match for the world title between Jordan and Nate. I'm preaching it to the powers that be at TASW. Let's make it happen because Jordan Jensen puts on Facebook, I want my fucking title shot. Give it to him. I will pay the price of admission any day to be there for that match.
Brother, let me tell you about Jordan. I've said a lot about Jordan. I will continue to keep saying things about Jordan. Like, I'm good. Okay? I'm good. I'm not amazing. I'm good. I know that. And if you ask Jordan, he'll tell you that he's good. He's amazing. I've seen him in matches, and I think the reason why I've stepped up, why people have the opinion of me that they do, is because of the work that I've done with Jordan. I've seen him in matches with Ryan Davidson, and we all know he's a phenomenal talent. And dude, he absolutely belonged in that ring with Ryan Davidson. I've seen him in that match. You guys saw him with Nate Bradley. We all know that Mr. 5K, Nate Bradley, again, what's up, nephew? Love you. Again, you don't have words for it. And I remember talking to Jordan. Here's some backstage about that. I'm like, brother, how you feeling working with Nate, man? He's a workhorse. He's like, I don't know, brother, right? He absolutely belongs. Jordan is one of the top tier talents in Texas, in the very least. He could work with anybody. He worked with a big bruising brawler brute like me. We'll put on a match that made his mom cry, okay? And he worked with a lightweight. No offense, Nate, you have abs, you look great. He worked with a lightweight and put on a match that popped everybody, had them on their feet. I would love to see it too. I'm not saying he needs to go over and carry the company title, but he'll be there to pop the crowd for sure.
I say this with all the confidence in the world. For my short run as a fan of TASW, my two top favorite matches will always be there's Nate Bradley and Jordan Jensen from Conroe Rumble, and then Nate Bradley versus Exodus Prime at the last TASW show, like a month and a half ago at VFW. That match blew me away.
Dude, Brother X, man, another guy that, again, for you guys to even have me on the show is amazing. Do you see how much talent is out there, man? We could have our own Texas worldwide show and be competing. And I mean this. I honestly mean this. And if wherever I fit on that show, of course I fit on that show. I'm the big monster. However, wherever I fit on that show, we could compete with any TV show. And I'm not just saying that because I'm part of it. We have the talent here. Exodus Prime, amazing.
Yeah. Just the same thing that you did. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I called Tim on the way home because he wasn't able to hit that one up, and I said, "Bro, you missed." Man, I was speechless after that match. I had to take time to wait after the show for Exodus to come out just for me to tell him, "Dude, you blew me away. My eyes are on you."
He's so tall too. Like it breaks my heart. I'm supposed to be tall, like Jordan. I think Jordan's actually like an inch taller than me. I'm like, hey, you guys need to bring it down a bit because I'm supposed to be the big guy on campus. Okay, calm your shit down.
So, what do you do on your spare time when you're not in the ring?
Well, I mean, isn't it obvious, brother? I mean, I just
work out.
Just work out. Spend time with my dog. Spend time with my loving wife. Obviously, I look at working out because I've earned the right to be a pro wrestler, and this is what I always tell the younger guys that's coming in. You have to earn the right to be able to perform. You have to earn the right to have the music and the gimmick. I can't tell you how many guys I've talked to is like, they hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, and they're like, I want to be a pro wrestler, and I want this to be my music, and I want this to be my finisher, and I want this to be. I'm like, hey, calm down. Go to a school if you want to see if you want to try it out, right? And I'll give them all the time in the world. For me, by the way, that was Ryan Davidson that took all that time with me when I had questions. I never hit him with like, brother, I'm going to do the tombstone in front of 2,000 people. I never did that, but you'll be surprised how many people actually hit us up with that. So you have to earn the right to the music and the gear and all that stuff. So I look at it as I've earned that right, and now I need to continue to be on that level. People respect me in this business. So I go to work. Obviously, I have my full-time job, and I make sure and I go to the gym because that's hours in my workday, right? It's hours in my workday to earn that. When I go to wrestling training, I need to stay sharp because you guys are paying money to see me and be fans of me. Brother, I need to be able to give you my best. I will actually say, because I know like you guys were asking me before if I was going to be on any all-star dates coming up, right? And I remember, I think you hit me up on the side like, hey man, are you doing anything over the summer? I don't usually like to talk about my personal life a whole lot, but I'll go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and put this into the universe because I'm past my third interview now. So actually right now I'm preparing for American Gladiators. I'm being considered as one of the gladiators for this show, for the UK version of the show. Oh, wow. So I've been hitting the gym double hard, want to be TV ready, and bringing this Tama Ku to a completely different level. And if that works out, man, I'm going to be gone from July filming that over in the UK.
Oh wow!
Dude, oh yeah, congratulations!
Thank you. Just to be this far in the process, man, where the executives are now looking at all my stuff is a huge honor. And again, just putting this character in this guy and the gym and everything that I'm worked for, again, at 42 years old, even to be considered is a huge compliment. So again, I'm putting out there to the universe, maybe I'm the guy that you'll see on TV.
Hey.
Well, before I get to my last question and Tim says something, I'm going to post a hashtag called hashtag Tama Ku for TASW. Sometime before the end of the year, I want to see you at a TASW show. We all would love to see you there.
Hey, man, I love them. I love to be back.
I would love that. But no, I mean, congrats on that. And
thank you.
I mean,
thank you.
You didn't have to share that with us, but it's an honor to hear that. And so as soon as you know that you're going to be aired on it, definitely going to find out a way to watch you on that because I definitely want to see that.
Definitely.
Now, Our final question, or at least for
Mhm.
me, is I'm going to put you on a little bit of a hot seat. Very fun
Uh,
question. All right, since you're a masked wrestler, I have to ask you this. On your Mount Rushmore of masked wrestlers, doesn't matter time, present, past. What are your Mount Rushmore of masked wrestlers?
Masked wrestlers. Ah, man, does face paint count? Right.
Yeah. Mask, space paint. I'm cool with that.
So the funny thing is, I'll go ahead and openly say, which always goes against directly against my character, the guys I take a lot of inspiration from, I actually wasn't fans of. I just respect their work. Like you'll see a lot of Kane in my work. I think, dude, he when you go back, it's funny if you guys ever actually pursue this journey of wrestling and you start really understanding the intricacies of it, you see how amazing these guys are. Just the little details they have. Like I'm not a fan of high flying matches, right? If there's not a match that I can't get something out of, I won't watch it. But I'll watch AJ Styles. I'll watch Randy Orton, right? Those guys are amazing. Um, but I will give you my Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. Kane is definitely on there. I think he's for me. It's always it's not just moves. It's what you do in between the moves. It's what you do going into that move, what you do after the move.
Mhm.
Kane is phenomenal. Batista. Batista is a huge inspiration for me. A matter of fact, I will openly say, as gay as it sounds, I've modeled a lot of my tattoos after Batista. And
Right.
funny story about that, and this is partially also, it's not just for the children, but this is what I go after for wrestling as an inspiration. If anybody's inspired by what I do and it makes them say, "Hey, man, I want to get off my ass and I want to be like that guy," that's amazing. Because when I was 21 years old, I was extremely depressed, and I turned on SmackDown one night, and that's the debut of Deacon Batista, and I didn't know who that guy was. I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" And there's something about just seeing that guy on TV, and he was big and he was looking around. He had the box. I was like, "Oh my God, I want to be like that guy." And it got me, it broke me from my depression. And I went back to the gym nonstop after that point. Batista's it. He's amazing. He also did like the Ultimate Warrior rope shake a little bit, which it's
Yeah.
my little homage to him
Mm-hmm.
in Warrior. If Dave Batista ever sees it, he may never see my work. Maybe after American Gladiators, I don't know. Um, he'll love it. Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash is a huge inspiration for me. I love Big Daddy Cool Diesel because when I was a kid, I loved wrestling, but I didn't really pay attention to him, right? But the era right before the Attitude Era was my jam. Razor Ramon, Diesel. By the way, Scott Hall is on my Razor Ramon is on my other. He was the first cool bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Um, those guys going before the Attitude Era, they were my jam. And I guess I forget how many people's on Mount Rushmore, but I watch a lot of because I study a lot of wrestling now. Kane, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and I'll just name one more, Psycho Sid, and
Ooh, yes.
Yes.
which you'll see a lot in the way that I go this new direction for Tama Ku, the big dude nasty Tama Ku with the spiked shoulder pads. There's a lot of Psycho Sid in that too. The fist bumps, the stop, the who's the man, the big wild stares. I've taken a lot of inspiration from him.
Yeah, I'm a huge Warrior fan. So
Dude, who wasn't, man?
I was
Everybody
about
was
to say, who
a fan.
wasn't?
my holy grail, like I'll find wrestling memorabilia here and there, and I'll pick it up. So
Mhm.
my holy grail, man, is to find the original WWF Coliseum home video of WrestleMania 6.
Wow.
WrestleMania 6 was life changing to me. Hogan, Warrior, I loved both of them, but I was forced to pick,
Sure.
and
Sure.
yeah, man, that was one, and that's my love for pro wrestling.
Dude, that
WrestleMania
was
6.
huge. I remember that as a kid, and you couldn't you remember at that time you had to watch the pay-per-views. Of course, I couldn't afford anything. I was a kid. I didn't have my own money, and even if I had my own money, I probably couldn't spend $100 on a pay-per-view. And then when you watch the following Monday Night Raw, there would be like still shots from what happened. And you're like, oh my God, I just wish I knew what happened. And you go back and you watch that match, and objectively, wasn't great.
No,
But it's the way again, and I started this interview with this, and I'm going in towards the end, and I'll end with this. Dusty Rhodes once said, "It's not about what you did. It's not about what you said. It's about the way you made them feel." And I
mhm.
remember that match, like you said. It felt like it was the highest of highs.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't get any higher. Rock Hogan replicated that a little bit, but Hogan Warrior, brother.
Yeah. See,
Yeah. You're it. You
Hogan
got
Warrior.
it.
I mean,
You understand everything that I do. That's everything I do is based off those guys.
Yep.
Absolutely. Like literally, when I tell you that I have eaten, slept, breathed professional wrestling since 1989.
Yeah.
That is the most passionate thing.
She echoes your sentiment, brother.
Other than my family, wrestling is the most passionate thing I have.
Yep.
Man,
I love it.
And that's huge. And so, like, my wife will get it. Again, we made her cry one time. Not proud of it, but proud of it. Is that you have to respect it from an entertainment source. There's no other show that you're going to spend 15, 20 bucks on that's going to entertain you like that, to get lost in the moment. I remember my wife, and the first show she went to when I was going to debut, there's these little kids and they're jumping up and down, It's always going to stick in my head. And they're high-fiving all the wrestlers. She's like, hey, who's your favorite wrestler? And they're like, I don't know, this is my first show. And she's has her mind blown that, like, what do you mean you don't have a favorite wrestler? This is your first show? How do you know who to cheer and who to boo? And these kids are like 6, 7 years old. They're like, you just know.
Yeah.
You just know. And when
Yep.
you're good at your craft, they know exactly how to treat you. Like I said earlier in the interview. And that leaves those long-lasting memories. So going back in their interview a little bit, when we talked about the talkies, brother, I was out there having fun, right? I knew they wanted me to interact with them. I had no idea it was going to go over that well. And again, the little thing where because I kept spitting out the talkies because I was trying to be a bad guy, right?
We
were front and center watching you.
So I was like, oh my God, that's gross. And really, I will always find something to eat when I walk out, and my wife gets mad at me for it because I think it's funny to see if somebody will feed me. So they were primed for it, right? And at the end, because I kept spitting them out, I knew they were primed for it. Like after I won the match, I did the whole, and it's great because I got the and I put it in my mouth, and the whole crowd popped. And to me, it gave in that moment. Gave me goosebumps, right?
Yep. Me and my wife, when you did that, me and my wife and Tim here went, oh yeah.
It's so funny, just an organic moment, right? It just I rubbed my belly. I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty good. And the whole sort of the chant of Chalky Man, that was just an organic thing.
Yeah, remember that?
Again, I'm just so grateful that people find it entertaining, really.
So really quick, I've been out and about all day with my wife, and I've been telling her that, hey, I'm interviewing Tama Ku tonight. So my daughter's in the back seat going, Daddy, Tama Ku, Tama Ku,
No, it's Tama Ku.
Tama Ku. And my daughter, she's 4 years old. She's the greatest thing that has ever happened to me. I don't know if you
Congratulations, by the way.
If you can see that is the greatest achievement. And she comes up to me and she's like, Daddy, acknowledge me. And it's the cutest thing.
Cool.
She's like, Daddy, are we watching Cody tonight? Yes, we are. We'll watch Cody.
But her favorite wrestler. If she was
Tama Ku. No, of course not.
when he started getting her into wrestling, he'll go to her and he'll like, Violet. With everybody saying, and she'll say, L.A. Night.
Dude, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, her thing now is she loves Cody Rhodes and she loves Rhea Ripley. Like she'll go, Daddy, go get my title belt. And she'll get her title belt off the wall because she's got 3 belts. And she'll do the Rhea Ripley thing where she crouches down and she stomps that foot and she'll stick out her belt. And I'm like, that's the greatest thing that has ever happened in my life.
By the way, Rhea Ripley is somebody that I'll actually watch and study for film because every little detail she does is just right. She's amazing.
Oh, she's so fantastic.
And
she's great.
Like how she plays her character. I mean, and it's even going into Dominic Mysterio. Mm-hmm. They played their characters so well. I mean, it's to the point, like, even right now, I'm like, I'm done with the Judgment Day. Because how well they play their characters. Like, really? You're gonna, we already know they're gonna cheat, just like the Bloodline. Oh, they're gonna cheat. But that's what makes it interesting. It's like until this WrestleMania, I was calling Dan every time. I was like, dude, what do you think's going to happen on the show tonight? He goes, I don't know. He's like, it's unpredictable, but we're going to watch. And then when you watch it, you're like, really? That happened? Why? But that's what makes it entertaining. That goes even back to, y'all. It's like, I like the fact that we can go into a show and not know what's going to happen. We see the match cards, but we don't know what's really going to happen. And I love that about Texas All-Star, because we don't know.
Well, it's because independent promotions don't release their stuff on dirt sheets.
Exactly.
It still keeps it interesting. And that's the really cool thing about Texas wrestling, independent wrestling in general, is that, again, I want to spoon feed you that storyline, because if it was your first show, you know how to react to what's going on. We could still amaze you, even if you didn't know the backstory from 2 shows ago. But also in another promotion, I might be a heel, and another promotion might be a face. So we do it completely different. But again, I think guys, especially the guys that I've been working with, are just such masters of their crafts that we get that emotion that you showed earlier. It's like, yeah, man, if we got you drawn in, it's, again, anybody can super kick. And I'm not talking negative upon anybody's work or any other promotion, but it's more than just moves. You have to be invested.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, you want to do the outro, Tim? It's all you.
No.
That's it? Okay. Well, I'm good with it. Are you guys good with
it? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm good. But no, before we cut the show, let everybody in the audience know where they can find you and where they can find your T-shirts and everything. I know it's not all about the money, but of course, anyone that's a big fan, where they know where to get your T-shirts to represent you, where they can find you, Facebook, Instagram, anything like that. The floor is yours.
Well, okay. Hey, I appreciate you guys again for having me on here. Man, you can find me on all the social media platforms: TikTok, X, now Facebook, Instagram. I'm mostly on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Tama Ku 018. That's TAMAKU 018. That's Tama Ku, in the year I started in 2018, which is also my slogan and my my marketing for all my material. You can actually catch all the merch, and again, I try to have merch that's in line with everybody's budget. Again, so you can walk away with something. As again, I want you to walk away with a piece of me so that you remember it forever. And typically at the shows, I haven't started an online shop because, again, I want to be personal. I always say that I wrestle, I perform out there in the ring, just to get that time and earn that time with the fan after the show, so I can sit there, take the picture, talk to you, sign whatever you want. I'll sign another wrestler's picture. I don't give a fuck, right? Long as you walk away feeling happy. Like I said, you guys find me on all that social media at Hurricane Pain. You can just search Tama Ku. I usually try to put my matches on YouTube, which is funny because of that on YouTube, I've gotten some interest from doing a tour over in India and doing a tour with The Crash in Mexico. So we'll see how that lines up as well. Wow. Again, I'm putting out to the universe, so we'll see how it happens. And again, as far as my wrestling dates, man, I have some shows coming up with Hurricane Pro Wrestling, Taco Margarita Festival here in Beaumont, Texas. I'll be at Riot Wrestling Federation here in June. Again, I'm trying to keep it open because, again, your boy might be at a Gladiator next to the next thing, which is wrestling, right, in the UK here coming up soon. And if not, man, hey, man, I'm just going to continue to get bigger and stronger and make it worth your time to be invested in me. So that's how you can find me.
My wife just followed you on TikTok, okay?
Oh, thank you. Well, it's... Okay, so a warning about that. Well, if you see it on my social media, of course I can be like, oh, big Tama Ku, chokeslam. Nobody gives a shit about that, which is amazing to me, because I could give you the most badass picture of me standing on a flaming building. Everybody wants to see me do something stupid, superimpose my face on a meme or some sort of stupid cap cut. So you're going to see more of my comedic side on my social media, and I'll just try to slide in that chokeslam every now and again, just to be like, oh, he is a badass. Cool. He is awesome.
I actually looked at some of your stuff on Instagram and Facebook, and a lot of your pictures make me laugh. So,
well, again, the point is, and I take that as a compliment, is the point is to elicit emotion. And as long as you have a positive feeling towards me. And here's the thing: I could be a heel in this promotion, be a face in this promotion. You know how to treat me, so you know when to boo me and when not to. And then afterwards, I've had the best relationship with my fans, and it's crazy to say that I even have fans because I'm just some dude, right? And they'll come up, and every one of them gives me a big hug, and I appreciate that. It's that bonding moment, and we got to create something really and truly, not just from me, but from you, and we did it together. Because I can't be who I am without the people cheering me and giving me that emotion every time.
Understandable.
Sorry, I know this isn't your typical wrestler.
No.
Wrestler.
No, we are loving this. We are loving this.
We know we don't want to take your time, but I mean, we're enjoying this so much that we could continue on, but we know you have a busy life, and of course you want to be with Mama Ku as well. So.
Tama wifey, man, I've got to take her out for a drink and dinner, man. That's another thing. Hey guys, never stop dating your wife. That's very, very important. Never stop. Say your prayers, take your vitamins, go to the gym. Don't stop dating your wife. That's super important.
Exactly.
My wife's pointing at me like, listen to him.
Listen, I am now your wife's favorite wrestler. It's cool. She gets autograph for free. Okay?
Oh.
She's over here karate kicking out of excitement.
Well, Daniel, I mean, with that, I mean, you can take us out, but one thing I want to say is thank you for coming on the show. You're welcome anytime.
Man, guys, mahalo. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Daniel?
No, Tim, you're doing the outro on this one, Bubba.
All right.
You go.
All right, guys. I want to thank everyone for showing up tonight with our special guest, Tama Ku. Like he said, you can find him at Hurricane Pro. And also, every now and then, when he gets the chance, he's also at Texas All-Star Wrestling. You heard him. Follow him on Facebook, all the platforms out there. Also, if you like this show, definitely follow us on TikTok. We're on Facebook, Instagram, every platform that you can get your podcast on, we are on. Also, click that bell notification so when we go live, you get that notification on YouTube. Other than that, we are out.